Well, hey there, guys. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in my van in Las Vegas. Yeah, Ann and I are down in Las Vegas right now. But joining me from the studio is our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
Good morning, everybody.
And also, who was also here in Vegas last night with me, but is now back in studio, writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
Vegas, baby, Vegas. I was up 200 by midnight. Oh, wait, no, I wasn't.
Okay. We Ann and I, when we were done at the movie meetup, we thought about going over to the casino for a bit, but I was like, I got to get up at 6, so I should probably just go back. By the way, last night was our Las Vegas movie meetup, the final movie meetup of this current little stretch that we started last week. So we did in 4 nights. We did Albuquerque, Denver, Salt Lake City, and then last night we culminated in Las Vegas, where we went to go see The Long Walk again. Big thank you to everybody who came out. It was such a great crowd last night, and you guys were so wonderful. Rob and I and Ann hung around and talked to everybody for about 2.5 hours after the movie was done. We had a great and wonderful time with all you guys. Now, there are more movie meetups coming. We've got more coming, and just keep your eyes open for all the dates that are coming. We're coming to San Francisco soon, and Portland and Seattle, and then we will be heading east in the coming month or two. So keep your guys' eyes all open for that, and thank you again to all the great people who came out to our Las Vegas. Oh, it was such a good time, man. Such a good time. All right, guys. With that down, we got a bunch of things to talk about here, so let's get things started with this. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the Emmys a little bit later, but one of the shows that had at least won one big award, and I believe won 9 Emmys altogether, was The Penguin. And Matt Reeves is now saying that they're already talking about doing more The Batman spin-off shows after the great success of The Penguin. This is what he said. I totally do. We've talked about it. Reeves told IndieWire on the Emmy red carpet when asked if he has plans for other television spinoffs. So again, he was asked, do you have plans for more spinoffs for the Batman? And he says, I totally do. While the director confirmed that creative conversations about expanding his corner of the DC universe have taken, he was quick to underline that his primary focus remains on the big screen. That's where my priorities have been, the Batman Part 2. These conversations may or may not. Look, I'm not in control of DC, and I can only tell you what I'd love to do, and that there are things that they know we would love to do, and those conversations may begin again when it's appropriate. Okay. So, look. The Penguin, you guys know how we feel about the Penguin. We talked about it while the whole show was running. I do believe firmly it's the best thing DC has ever put on television. Yes, I think it's even better than Peacemaker, although it's very, very different. You know, it's a totally different show from Peacemaker, but still, I just thought it was incredible. And again, 9 Emmys, including Milioti winning Best Actress, which is great. But we'll talk more about that a little bit later. So, Rob, this gets us, you know, the imagination spinning about what could these spin-offs be? What could he be talking about? So, first of all, Rob, do you think that's a good idea to do more of these spin-offs, Matt Reeves's Batman universe? And secondly, if he does, what would be some characters you think would fit well in this HBO Max universe?
Well, I think what they did with Penguin, which was great, was they sort of pioneered the Batman limited series idea, meaning you can tell a great story. It was 8 episodes, right? So you
right around there, yeah.
Yeah, you have 8 episodes where they've spent a long time developing the show, and those scripts, man, that they crafted were terrific. And you know, obviously the obvious thing would be to look at, I'd love to see a Zoe Kravitz Catwoman show. I loved her in that. You know, I mean, I think Zoe Kravitz, you see her in Caught Stealing. There's something otherworldly, incredibly sexy. She's got like a smoldering screen presence. And I think doing a Catwoman show would be a natural thing. Also, I mean, obviously Gotham series leaned into the Commissioner Gordon show, but they could do that. I mean, they've kind of already done that, but they could focus on, you know, like maybe there's in a way some organized crime bureau, like like The Wire, where you're concentrating on
Right.
law enforcement in Gotham, but do it like The Wire, really get into the nitty gritty. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be Commissioner Gordon, although you got to that's sort of an obvious way to go. And then there's of course, the entire villains pantheon of you. And if you wanted to go a little further out, you could do a Ra's al Ghul storyline if you wanted to, and you could say, okay, he's kind of an immortal, or maybe he's not, a League of Shadows thing. But again, do it as like a crime boss. He could be the Vito Corleone of international crime or something.
All right, let me throw this at you. Piggyback on your idea. At the Las Vegas meetup last night, one of our fans who was there came up and we were talking, and they kind of dropped this. What about, like, because you mentioned maybe a Ra's al Ghul series. What about a Ra's al Ghul series starring Hiroyuki Sanada?
Oh, dude, come on, that'd be dope. I'd totally watch that. And then you could make it international. Mm-hmm. It could be an international crime organization that comes to Gotham, not necessarily to destroy it, like in Batman Begins, but to do something. Like there's an international conclave of, kind of like in Quantum of Solace when they go to the opera, and you've got the quantum group meeting in that James Bond movie, something like that. That would be, what great casting, And John, ninjas.
And of course, ninjas. By the way, you mentioned Zoe Kravitz. She's pretty hot right now. Now, do you have her in that as Catwoman, or do you have her as the vampire queen of the night? Whatever was she played in the studio, which did really well last night. Well, again, we'll talk about the Emmys a little bit more later. I mean, I see some people in the live chat mentioning maybe a Robin story. I'm not interested in a Robin story, not that I'm against the idea of bringing Robin into the cinematic universes if they do them well. I don't think the general audience who really got into the Penguin as not just a great comic book property, but a great series.
Yeah.
I don't know if those same people would be down for a Robin series, to be honest with you.
Plus the timeline really doesn't work. I mean, Batman has to be Batman for like another 10 years before there's a Robin. I mean,
that's the thing, because Matt Reeves' Batman is a younger Batman. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think he's got a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kid running around out there.
No. I mean, get the kid killed. But I mean,
some other people have mentioned Court of Owls. Some other people in the live chat mentioned Court of Owls. Here's an HBO. That could work.
Yeah, I mean, that goes into the whole criminal underworld storyline. It'd be great to do something like that. And who wouldn't want? Court of Owls would be a great title for a show anyway, or Batman Court of Owls, or whatever you want to call it. But I think that there's so many great possibilities, because look, what was so great about Penguin to me is that it didn't just subvert expectations. It really, if you didn't know Penguin was in the Batman universe, that story existed on its own, and it was just a great crime thriller. And I think that that's something that is always appealing.
I still like a little deeper look at Arkham.
There's that too.
Well, remember they planned that. Remember they did have, like, in the Matt Reeves Batverse, they had an Arkham series lined up. They were talking about a Gotham PD, kind of like what you were describing, Rob. Yeah. They had that lined up, but those both eventually kind of got shelved and fallen by the wayside. I see some people saying, who would want to see a Catwoman series and not a Robin series? 99% of the public. Probably. Like, I'm not talking about the hardcore comic book fans, which you would have a different ratio there. But I think with the average show watching public, especially ones who really liked Penguin and the types of themes you could do there.
And she's established
a sultry adult kind of heavy drama series like the Penguin, but done with Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman.
Yeah.
Listen, that would get 5 times the viewers of a Robin series. Yeah. It just would. I'm not saying that means it would be better than Robin. I'm just saying it would get like 5 times the viewership of a Robin series, I think.
Although none of this really matters, because anything that comes out is going to be 2032. So
yeah,
at this rate.
Yeah. Matt Reeves likes to work at a very slow pace. He's like an ent. I just rewatched The Two Towers. He's like an ent. He's like, any story worth telling is worth taking a long time to tell. That seems to be Matt Reeves' philosophy. And hey, who am I to argue with him? Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this. Matt Reeves is confirming they are looking at doing more and other spin-off series from the Batman universe. Would you like that? It maybe yes, maybe no. If you do, which characters in the Batman world do you think would be prime candidates for doing it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's go on and talk about this, shall we? You know, we did, like I said, we did movie meetups for the last 4 nights in a row, starting on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then culminating last night and Sunday. And at every one of those movie meetups, there were pretty big crowds for other movies. Like we did the movie meetups, we did what we do. We did The Thing, then we did 2 nights of The Long Walk, and we did Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, which was awesome. But at each one of those screenings, another screen in those theaters, at least one, was playing Demon Slayer, Infinite Castle. And the crowds, like I'm watching them and I was talking, I was like, the crowd seemed to be pretty good. I mean, it wasn't like a $300 million opening kind of Avengers Endgame kind of packed, but it was really good turnout for those. And so I was not surprised at all to open it up and then see that box office Demon Slayer had a, get this, $70 million opening. Not only is it now the biggest, what they're calling, at least in the article from Variety, they're calling it the biggest anime, animated opening in history. I think $31 million was the previous one. And that was for a Pokemon movie that had like a $31 million. And that was the record. This thing just more than doubled that, with a $70 million opening. And not only is it great for anime, that's not bad for a kid. Not only was that great for anime, it's the biggest opening weekend any Sony film, because remember, Sony's the distributor behind this. It's the biggest opening weekend that any Sony film has had in 2 years.
Wow.
In 2 years.
That's huge.
The biggest opening they've had. Like, think about that. Sony is a major studio. Now, granted, they haven't had the best 2 years, but in the last, like for a major studio to have this be the biggest opening in the last 2 years, that is huge. Now, look, I'm not going to be disingenuous. I'm not personally interested in the film. This movie is not for me, but that's totally fine. It was great being at the movie meetups and then seeing crowds of people coming out of another film, and they clearly had a good time. And as a movie fan, that's all I want. I want people to go to movies and have fun, whether it's or not it's a movie that I'm into. That's irrelevant. They went in, they had a good time, and they enjoyed great success. Rob, it was great for the theaters. The theaters right now loved having a movie that was opening to $70 million. And I think this is going to open, again, it's not, I don't want anybody to think I'm biased that I want to see it. No, these aren't even movies that I like. But I think this opens the door, Rob, but now, just because this work doesn't mean anything that's an anime is instantly going to make $50 million opening weekend. We already know that's not true. But I do think it opens the door for others like this to maybe happen again. And I think this is great for Sony. I think this is great for their fans. This is obviously great for the movie theaters. So congratulations to them. This is huge. Rob, what do you make of this result they had?
It's massive. And remember, for Sony, this is an acquisition. They didn't make this movie. They acquired it to release it domestically, and what a win. And, I think it also, the real thing that it signifies to me is, I always talk about pop culture needs to belong to the generation that's absorbing it or consuming it. That's how pop culture is driven. And, we try and, let's watch Back to the Future again. Back to the Future belonged to 1985. It's 40 years old. Yeah, now it belongs to all of us. But I'm curious. I love seeing this happen because, somebody went to the movies. I saw, before we met you in Vegas, we were sitting outside, or we were sitting in this restaurant watching people walk right in front of the window. There was so many people dressed up in K-pop, in Demon Slayer cosplay, going to the theater, young people, old people,
and
parents,
shirts and all that kind of
all
stuff.
All kinds of things. And there was a huge excitement, and people were really excited. I'm sure people had seen it multiple times already. And I love the fact that this is a movie for audiences of today, and they're consuming a foreign film, which is really exciting. I find this really interesting and fascinating and hopeful. and exciting, because I love seeing that people have something that they can call their own. They're not watching. I mean, look, Jurassic Park Refund is a franchise that started in 1993.
Yeah.
I mean, this.
But to be fair, is still making a lot of money.
Oh, it's
I mean,
still
to be fair, it's still making a lot of money.
It is, but it doesn't belong to the current generation. They're inheriting this. And whereas the Demon Slayer franchise has just been on an upward trajectory, and I loved seeing the excitement around this. And plus, I love the fact that it's a franchise that comes to us from a foreign country that has a whole different sensibility than we have here in America or that they have in Europe. And it means that, in terms of the diversity of the kinds of entertainment people are watching, I love the fact that it's coming from a different place in the world than here.
Well, and listen, right now, well, I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters is no longer number one on streaming, but basically speaking, right now, the biggest movie on streaming, talking around about things, not specifically, but is K-pop Demon Hunters. And right now, the biggest movie as of today, like as of at least for this weekend, the number one movie in theaters is Demon Slayer. This is a big moment for that, because I don't think I don't see anybody talking about this. I see everybody talking about how wonderfully successful Demon Slayer was. But think about this. Like, the biggest thing on Netflix practically right now is K-pop Demon Hunter. And right now, the biggest thing in the theaters right now is Demon Slayer. And I think that is a significant milestone that people should not be overlooking. And Sony, the people in the boardrooms at Sony are like, okay, what's next? And sort of thing. And now and I guarantee you, everybody else is looking at this now too. Warner Brothers is looking at this. Disney is looking at this. Like, it's not an insignificant thing. And again, it's not the genre type of thing that I've enjoyed all that much, but that's fine. This type of success should be celebrated. It should be put up on a pedestal and really like commemorated. I think this is wonderful for them. And Rob, I feel really great because Rob, we've had fans and viewers of our show.
Yeah.
For years, a lot of them for years and years and years and years have often written in and say, why don't we get more anime stuff in our theatrical presentations? Why don't we get more of this? And I said, well, right now it's just this North America is not the audience for it. But that's clearly changing. And I can't help but be really excited and thrilled for fans who have wanted something like this, who have waited for something like this, for this type of success to come along for them. And I just think it's great for everybody.
Totally.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? This is a huge, record-shattering result for Demon Slayer. A lot of people, if you were at the movie theaters this weekend seeing something else, you probably saw a lot of people going into it too. Whatever you take away from this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's Monday, so we're going to do a little game of overreaction here. We went on to our community panel, our post tab on the YouTube channel earlier today, and we asked you guys to submit some statements, make some bold statements that Rob and I can either tell you whether we think you are overreacting or not. Jonathan's got them there. So, Jonathan, what do we got up first?
All right. First up, is this an overreaction, Rob, when the Zodave, I'm not sure what that means, the XO Dave says, we're going to get a bare-boned Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer by the end of this year?
I don't think that's an overreaction. I don't know if it's going to be bare bones. I mean, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago about how this could be one of the most important trailers that the MCU ever releases. I think whatever they do, even if it's just a teaser trailer and it doesn't show any footage and it's more conceptual, this trailer has to be eye-popping. It's got to be something that really stops us in our tracks, and it's going to tell us that, you are now 1 year away from Doomsday, whatever it is. By the way, I don't think it's going to sound like that. Oh. But if it does, if it does, it's got to do something.
Sold.
It's got to do something great. And it's got to do something that really puts a smile on everyone's face, but most of all, that gets everybody really, really excited. And it wouldn't surprise me if they start look, if you can buy tickets to the 70mm versions of the Odyssey a year in advance, all bets are off. I mean, I think that Marvel knows what they need to do with this film. They need to plant a flag. They need to gin up interest. And remember, we're getting Spider-Man Brand New Day, in July? So that's a long way before Doomsday. So maybe we'll get that trailer and they'll tease. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they got to do something. Let me tell you, Marvel's got to start that hype train running soon.
All right. Total overreaction. They are, I don't believe at all. Like, you might get a poster or something like that, but they are, look, we always say that, at least I always say this, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I'm going to tell you what, and by the way, Doomsday is well over a year away. Well over a year away. I believe they are going to make, when they drop their first trailer, it ain't going to be with a whimper. It ain't going to be, by the way, did you see they? No. They're going to come out guns blazing. They're going to try to make this out to be a global event. And I believe that's going to be Super Bowl. Like, I still think they're going to come out early with their marketing, which they totally don't need to. But I think they are going to smack the world across the face on Super Bowl with this huge monstrous event of dropping that trailer there. Again, like, I don't really see any purpose of dropping a trailer a year in advance for something, especially for something like Endgame. Like, we got the Odyssey that kind of did it, and that was a really innovative, neat thing they did, but it was really just for IMAX screens. And I think it was really more just to make awareness for the audience that it was even coming. The audience is aware that Doomsday is coming. Right? It's not like the Odyssey where they had to just get awareness out there. So I think it ain't going to be something that they're going to launch this year where all the hype dies off from it. Because remember, hype has a shelf life. It dies off after a while. I think they're going to come out guns blazing, major thing, huge deal. And I think that huge deal is probably going to be Super Bowl. So I'm going to say them dropping a trailer this calendar year is an overreaction.
You know the trailer's going to be. It's going to be this.
What's that?
Opens on a tracking shot. As it pans up, a string of broken chairs, shattered to pieces and torn. And in the clutches of one armored fist, one last chair remains. And Doom strikes it down and says, now clean this up. And then it ends.
I think you just wrote it. You wrote it. All right. What's next?
All right. John, is this an overreaction? When we hear from Yusuf Khan after Secret Wars, no comic book movie outside of Batman or Spider-Man will ever make $1 billion again.
I think that's an overreaction. But I also think that the days of a studio having like 4 films in a row that all hit $1 billion, like Marvel did at one point, I believe that day's over. But the reason I'll say it's an overreaction, even though you qualified Batman and Spider-Man films, is this. Nobody thought Barbie was going to be $1 billion film. Margot Robbie never dreamed that Barbie would be $1 billion film. Nobody
she
thought
dreamed
Barbie.
it. She just didn't think it was true.
They never really thought it was real. Like nobody ever thought that, right? And the thing is, I bring that up because every once in a while, a movie will drop, comic book genre, some other genre, that will kind of shock the world. And just for whatever reason, in that moment in time, will just get everybody's attention. And there is absolutely no reason that can't also be in the comic book genre. So I'm going to say, well, I don't believe we're going to see $1 billion comic book films at the same pace that we did prior to Endgame. I think it's an overreaction to think that it's never going to happen, because it's going to happen in every genre. Anyway, Rob, what do you think?
I agree too. I mean, I think it's look, we've had Captain Marvel made $1 billion, the first one.
Yeah.
So you never know. And I think what you do what you did before, you slowly build up to it. I think certainly James Gunn's DC universe can work its way up to $1 billion movies. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure it could, and the MCU.
Well, to your point, Rob, I mean, if Superman, with all that was working against it, can make over $600 million as their first one out of the gate, and everybody's loving Peacemaker and all that kind of, there's no reason to believe like the first Justice League movie wouldn't be $1 billion film.
100%. And I think even the MCU too can build back up to that. I mean, I understand Avengers and Spider-Man, but if you engender that love again, you can find love can be conquered, and maybe you can build up to that $1 billion mark again, where you're going to have multiple Marvel movies hitting that $1 billion mark. I could see that happening. X-Men, if it's good, could happen.
If it's good, well, I mean, X-Men, if Doomsday is really good and if Secret Wars is really good, yeah, I could see the first X-Men out of the gate being potentially $1 billion film too. I think you're right. All right, what's next?
All right. Moving back to you, Rob.
Uh-oh.
So overreaction or not from Any Devon, who says Caught Stealing is in the top 5 movies of the year.
I gotta tell you, Caught Stealing didn't work for me. I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought I won't get into. I was a little disappointed from Darren Aronofsky. I'm a huge fan of his, and I was really looking forward to. I really liked the author of the book, who also wrote the screenplay, and I know it's the beginning of a series. I loved Austin Butler, but I thought it needed a little bit more Guy Ritchie in it than we got.
Yep.
So I don't call it top 5 of the year. I can't go there, especially because we don't know what the rest of the year has in store for us. One battle after another, leading the charge of movies I wasn't that interested in that people are saying are masterpieces. A lot of good stuff coming out this year, so I'm not prepared. I think that's an overreaction.
Yeah, I also think it's an overreaction, and I don't even need to see any other film this year. Now, listen, I liked the film. I did.
Yeah.
And it's not the film I was expecting. That's okay. Like, I don't need it to be what I expect. Like, The Long Walk was not what I was expecting at all. And I ended up really loving that film. But even right now, if you look at movies this year, I thought Superman was better. I thought Sinners was better. I thought Fantastic Four was better. I thought How to Train Your Dragon was better. I thought Thunderbolts was better. I thought Weapons was better. I mean, there's just too many films already.
Yeah.
That I think were better than it. And again, I like the film. I do. I liked it, but I also felt like it was more, some friends of mine who are into cars will sometimes say it was more rev and not as much speed. Had a lot of rev, but it didn't have a lot of speed. And so I thought it was a good film. I enjoyed it, but no, I don't think it's a top 5 film. I think that's an overreaction.
Although Austin Butler was great in it.
Oh, Matt Smith was great. Austin Butler was great.
Zoe Kravitz was great.
I have no complaints about any of the performances. I just didn't really feel like it never found its gear. You know what I mean?
Right. I felt that's like exactly
too much
right.
Was stuck in neutral. All right. What's next?
All right. Number 4, John, we're going to throw back to you. Is this an overreaction from Jerry? The Batman 2 will get a Best Picture nomination. Will get. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously this is all premature because we haven't seen the movie. So we're talking about what we think the potential exists. And we should say too, that any movie coming out has the potential to be a Best Picture nominated film. Sure. But listen, I'm going to say that that's not an overreaction because the critics, members of the Academy, fans loved the Batman. And I would also say that Matt Reeves has kind of made his Batman in such a way that it kind of feels like an Oscar film in many ways, if you look past the genre. And when you look at the tremendous success that The Penguin just had in its award season, again, I believe it ended up winning like 9 awards, 9 Emmys or something like that. When you look at that, if Matt Reeves can hit the target again with the Batman 2 like he did with the first one, I don't believe it's an overreaction at all to say it will get a Best Picture nomination. Again, we have to see the movie, of course, but if we're just projecting right now, I don't think that's an overreaction. Rob, what about you?
I totally agree with you. I mean, the Batman certainly had the sheen of a Best Picture winner. The beautiful cinematography, the incredible performances. It just felt like this really lush, call it important if you want, and I could absolutely see you take what they did. Remember, it's not just Batman now. You've got the Penguin show, as you pointed out, John. You have an expectation of a certain kind of storytelling, which is elegant, hardcore, and extremely accomplished. And the only thing that it would have going against it, I think, is the fact that it's a number 2 in the Batman series. The Academy is still a little prejudicial against genre fare, so they might have to overcome that. But if it's so good that you can't deny it's awesome, and this is a staggering movie, it could be the Godfather 2 of Batman sequels, hence the Best Picture nomination.
Especially since we live in an era right now where we get 10 nominees for Best Picture. You know, it wasn't that like the Dark Knight, infamously, you know, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, it did not get nominated for Best Picture, and that was the final year that the Academy had 5 Best Picture nominees. After that, they expanded it, and obviously, The Dark Knight would have gotten a Best Picture nomination had it come out today. But I think this Batman film may be a benefactor of that.
I agree.
All right, last
All right.
one. What's next?
Here we go. John, throwing back to you for our final. Is this an overreaction? When we hear from RJ Brando, Mandalorian and Grogu will be Disney's least grossing Star Wars film to date.
Ooh, you know what? Okay, so first, I'm going to bring up some information here. So first off, I really don't have a lot of faith in the market success for Mandalorian and Grogu. I think a lot of people may look at it and say this is just a glorified version, a 2-episode special of a TV show. I don't know that it's going to do great. But when we're talking live action, at least, the lowest grossing Star Wars film is and has been Solo, a Star Wars story, which, by the way, I think is a good film. Like, I think it's just a really fun space adventure movie. Not one of the best Star Wars movies, but I like the Solo movie.
I agree.
But it made $392 million, basically one Black Adam. So the question really gets refined as, do we think Mandalorian and Grogu can make more than Solo, a Star Wars story, at $392 million? And you know what? In as much as that I don't have a lot of faith in how much that movie's going to make at the box office, I do see it crossing the $400 million mark. So I'm going to say it's an overreaction to say it'll be the least, the smallest box office film of all of them, because I still think it will outdo Solo, a Star Wars story. Rob, what about you?
I agree with you. I think that, look, don't deny the power of Baby Yoda. Grogu was sort of an international phenom for a while, and people seeing him on the big screen cooing and awing or whatever he does, using the Force to get cookies. I don't know. I mean, people are going to really love to see that, I think. And if the movie's competent, it is John Favreau. And I'm hoping it has a solid script. Obviously, we've seen that one action scene where it's like this one long shot where they bust into an AT-AT and wreck shop or whatever. I think it's going to be fun enough that no one's going to be looking at it going, I wish Harrison Ford were in this movie. I think people are going to go and like it. And I think that means it's going to make over $400 million.
They better make over $400,000.
Yeah, better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And you know what? Well, it's the thing. Look, John Favreau is not necessarily a director who he makes a movie and it makes $1 billion, but he's a good director, man. And I think he's going to look at the mistakes, and there were a lot of them in The Mandalorian season 3, and deliver something much better. I just don't know that there's going to be a huge swell of people that are going to go run out to see 2 episodes of a TV show in the theaters. But I still think I think it's still safe to say it'll make over 400 million. All right, guys. That'll wrap up today's little round of overreaction. Thank you to everybody who sent in those statements for us to react to. Keep your guys' eyes open on our YouTube channel, because every once in a while we drop a call for you guys to send in those scenarios, and we always pick out a few to use every day. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this. Even though they had started already giving out the Emmys last week, because, they break it up into several nights, the biggest night of the television year was last night. What they call the prime time Emmys, where they give out the biggest awards, happened last night. And I got to tell you, I couldn't be more thrilled. Even though I was kind of rooting for Andor to win Best Series. It did not. But my goodness, I remember I got an excited text from a friend of mine last night going, oh my God, Andor took home one of the biggest prizes there is, Best Writing in a series. And I immediately, Rob, the first thing I did was I picked up my phone and I texted you. I'm like, Andor won Best Writing.
Dan
for
Gilroy
a series. Dan Gilroy, Tony's brother, he took home the Emmy last night for outstanding writing in a drama series. I couldn't be more thrilled about it. But Rob, it wasn't just Andor. And by the way, the one show I said that I said I would be totally okay if this one show won over Andor, and that was The Pitt. And The Pitt did it. So it was a big night for The Pitt. Penguin again took home 9 Emmys, including a major one for Milioti, who won for acting as Best Actress. And the studio won 13. The studio set a record for the most Emmy wins by a comedy series, taking home all the major ones with it, winning 13. Let's go over and take a quick look.
But nobody
at
thanks Sal Saperstein, John.
But you know what they did in the week at the earlier Emmy presentation? They were all thanking Sal Saperstein, which I thought was pretty great. Okay, so let's take a look at the winners. So the biggest prize of the night, outstanding drama series. We saw that Andor was nominated, The Diplomat, which is great, The Last of Us, which is great, Paradise, which is great, The Pitt, Severance, Slow Horses, and White Lotus, and The Pitt win. Again, my pick for best drama series was Andor, but like I said, leading up to the Emmys, if there is a show that could win, that I would be totally okay if it won, because it was outstanding. It was The Pitt, so I was really happy for it to see that they won. All right. Best lead actor in a drama series went to Noah Wyle for The Pitt. So Sterling K. Brown for Paradise was great. Gary Oldman for Slow Horses, Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us, and Adam Scott for Severance. But I thought Adam Scott had a shot. I thought Sterling K. Brown had a shot, but Noah Wyle won. Couldn't be more happy for it because he is incredible in this. Then I think the second biggest award of the night is Outstanding Comedy Series. Abbott Elementary, The Bear, Hacks, Nobody Wants This, which was way better than I thought it would be, I have to admit. Shrinking, which is what I would have voted for. What We Do in the Shadows, but the studio won Best Comedy again. I personally would have given it to Shrinking, but I have no problems with the studio winning. It was insanely good, and I can't wait for a second series. And again, that's just one of the 13 Emmys that the studio won. Limited series or anthology, Adolescence, no surprise, took it, won over Black Mirror, Dying for Sex, which I thought was really good. The Penguin, which I might have voted for, and Monsters. So Adolescence wins this. Not a lot of surprise. A lot of people were expecting to sweep up a lot. Outstanding talk series was The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, winning over The Daily Show and Jimmy Kimmel Live. Lead actor in a limited series or anthology. This was going to be a close one between Colin Farrell and Stephen Graham, and Stephen Graham won it for Adolescence, which is great to see him. Okay, I mean, he's been in the business for so long, Rob. It was really neat seeing him get that spotlight. Best actress in a limited series, anthology, series, or movie, Kristen Milioti for The Penguin, beating out the likes of Michelle Williams, Rashida Jones, and Cate Blanchett. And Milioti won for The Penguin, yet another one of the big awards that they won. Then, Outstanding Reality, lead actress in a drama series. This was a surprise. Almost all the awards outlets, all the awards writers were saying that Kathy Bates was going to win for Matlock. And I'm going to say she probably should have won. But Britt Lower from Severance, in a big surprise of the evening, took it. So good for her. Gene Smart again won for Hacks. This is becoming an annual regular thing. Best actor in a comedy series. Again, I would have given it to Jason Segel in Shrinking, but I've got no issues or problems that Seth Rogen won for the studio. Seth Rogen, I don't know that I've ever liked him more than I do in this. I mean, I like him in almost everything he's in, but I just love him in the studio. So that worked great for him. Supporting actor in a comedy series. A lot of people thought Sal Saperstein. A lot of people thought Ike Barinholtz might have won for this. But in another big surprise for the evening, Jeff Hiller won for Somebody Somewhere. Caught a lot of people by surprise. I think a lot of people had their brackets broken on that. Anyway, guys, we go through. So the big winners of the evening, The Pitt winning Best Drama Series, the studio winning 13 Emmys, but really great show. By the way, side note, The Bear got shut out.
Yeah.
The Bear got shut out. which has kind of been a mainstay. But for the studio, man, this is huge. But again, also great representation for more genre stuff. The Penguin winning the major award for Kristen Milioti, and most importantly and significant to me, Andor winning one of the top prizes for best writing in a series. I'm super excited to see that. Again, I kind of wish it won best drama, but I'll take this. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see now the results that came out of the Emmys, biggest night for television. What are the results that really stood out to you? What are the significant ones? Were there any surprises for you? What did you think?
Well, look, I really did enjoy the studio, but the sheer amount of awards that it won, I thought was pretty staggering, being that it's coming out of the box. It's for a season. And the fact that it is so inside baseball, Hollywood loves to honor itself. And literally the studio is about Hollywood. But the thing is, the show is so damn funny. And it's so well done. And, I wonder, I think their music score, I don't know if the music score won, but I really love the percussive, drum-heavy score. I know it was nominated. I don't know if it won. But that was the thing that really surprised me. I mean, all these other shows, The Pitt is so self-evidently great. We had so much, it just goes to show you, so much good television is on the air now. Whether you're watching comedies, whether you're watching science fiction like Andor, whether you're watching comic book, the Batman, or whether you're watching, speculative sci-fi and Severance. I mean, there's so much good stuff that was a thing that, and Jean Smart winning for Hacks again, she's delivering a tour de force performance. So that none of it really surprised me, but overall, you just realize that, wow, there's a lot of really good work being done. John, who was suspiciously absent? Star Trek.
Who's that?
And deservedly so. Just saying.
Well, there were a lot of shows. Yeah. Hey, listen, again, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds is the best Star Trek thing we've had since
never.
Since Next Generation. But I mean, I don't think I would have voted for it for Emmys. I mean, this is not, it's not Andor. It ain't
I just had
Andor,
to get that in
man.
there. I had to get that. Kind of like the Vulcan salute in the picture from last night of everybody. If you look in the back, you'll see my Vulcan salute for you, John.
I did. It's just funny because we were looking at the picture from last night. I'm like, where's Rob? I know we took the picture after he came out, and then it was like finding Where's Waldo, and finally
That's
we
right.
saw you in the back with.
Hey man, this
is
was a Campea Show night, John. You should be front and center, but I was there representing. I was there.
It was a good night.
Great night.
It was a great night for the studio. Great night for the Pitt. Great night for Andor. Great night for the Penguin.
And Adolescence. The fact that
Oh,
got
yeah,
so many
it's
awards.
huge.
Stephen Graham, what an innovative show. Real ballsy approach to doing what they were doing. And I loved seeing that the acting in that show, which floored me. One of my favorite things, did you see the video? The kid that starred in Adolescence, his favorite actor is Jake Gyllenhaal. And he was talking.
No, I didn't see that.
He was talking about they showed a clip. If you look at it, there was multiple interviews where he says that his favorite actor is Jake Gyllenhaal, and somebody, I know it was set up, but Jake Gyllenhaal came and met him, and you could see how excited he was and how it was just, look, did they set that up? Am I supposed to buy into it because it's total propaganda? Sure, but it really warmed my heart to see that. So you go, Jake Gyllenhaal, and you go, Adolescence.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about the Emmy results? There were a couple of big surprises in there, but I got to tell you, even though like my show didn't win, I thought it was a great night of results. I think it just kind of highlights how great TV is right now. Again, it's great to see genre television getting some of the big awards. Big happiness here for the Pitt, but also for the studio. Again, studio setting the record for most Emmy wins for a comedy series. That was awesome. Again, nothing though will ever beat Schitt's Creek that swept all the big awards. Again, you guys remember Schitt's Creek won Best Comedy, Best Directing, Best Writing, Best Lead Actor, Best Lead Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress. It won all of it. I don't think that'll ever happen again, but still 13 for the studio is amazing. Whatever you guys think about that, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey, side note, Rob, saw The Long Walk again last night. And correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody brought this up, and I think they're right. The kid Curly in The Long Walk. You know who that is?
I don't.
It's the kid from Jojo Rabbit. Yeah, that was exactly the look on my face too. I'm like, so unless we were mistaken, but I think that was the
Oh.
kid from Jojo Rabbit.
You know,
So it's like, oh
justice for
my
Curly.
God.
I guess he got
Yeah,
justice.
justice for Curly. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? We were just talking a little bit earlier about Avengers Doomsday, and it seems right now, like, all due respect to a lot of great movies that are lined up between now and next Christmas, including The Odyssey and a lot of others. It kind of feels like fandom right now is on a countdown clock, just building up to Avengers Doomsday. It's really going to be the movie that tells us if the MCU is truly back. Now, listen, after the disappointment of Captain America Brave New World, which I did not like very much, I think they're on a 2-win streak right now. I loved Thunderbolts, and I quite enjoyed Fantastic Four.
Yep.
So it's been a while since I saw 2 MCU movies in a row that I liked, and I really did. But, we got the Spider-Man movie coming, but everybody's like, feels like, and I don't think this is an exaggeration or an overreaction, Rob, that kind of the future of the MCU is kind of hinging on this Doomsday movie. And everybody's kind of counting down to it. And now we've got our first kind of official synopsis here of Doomsday, which is, we see headlines like this: Avengers Doomsday first official synopsis reveals Dr. Doom's evil plan for the MCU. Okay, now look, before we jump down into the actual synopsis, it is a very, very short snippet. It was revealed at that same expo that's going on that we got our first look at the Doom artwork, Rob. You remember we talked about that last week. And it's very short, but I gotta say, even for a short, little, tiny snippet, it actually reveals a bunch. Here it is. Dr. Doom has officially, this is put out by Marvel. Dr. Doom has officially arrived in the MCU. This villain, a master of cutting-edge science and powerful magic, will unleash a cascading crisis across the entire multiverse. Let me read that again, because while this is short, I think there's actually a lot in here to dig into. Dr. Doom has officially arrived in the MCU. This villain, a master of cutting-edge science and powerful magic, will unleash a cascading crisis across the entire multiverse. Okay. Rob, couple of big things to me. Number one, we learned a bit about the nature of Dr. Doom in this. The fact that he is going to be, because that's been a big question mark. There's been nothing definitive. Is he going to be is Dr. Doom basically going to be Iron Man? It's going to be his suit and all the technology is in his suit. Is he going to be more magic based, which we've seen him be? And now we know he is going to be the amalgamation of both. He is going to be a powerful magic user, and he's going to have Tony Stark level intellect when it comes to technology and blending mystic and magic in with technology. Right there is a huge bit of info that we just never really knew for sure about how they were going to handle Dr. Doom. And I would even say it gives us a eureka moment about how do you get somebody into the MCU that poses a bigger threat or a bigger problem to the Avengers and the world than Thanos did? Well, how about somebody who is a master of sorcery and a master of all technology? That's a problem. That's it. By the way, that is still one right there. That is one of my all-time favorite comic book panels.
So good.
Of all time. Dr. Doom just one punch, just right into Thanos and rips out his spine and his skull like a predator. Anyway, so that's the first big thing, right? Them giving us this, we now understand this nature of thing. But let's go back to it again. As we look at it here, this villain will unleash a cascading crisis across the entire multiverse. For people who don't know the comic run that this is based on, and Rob, I think you can verify this. That statement, taken at face value, kind of represents a major departure from the storyline in the comics, right? Like, because correct me where I'm wrong, Rob, but like in the comics, Doom is just another person who's kind of dealing with and reacting to the crisis in his way, and
yes,
to end up as God Emperor Doom. He's not the one who causes the multiversal problem. in the
Right.
comic story. And this one statement seems to suggest, again, I'm going to jump back to it here again. The way they word it is that Doom will unleash a cascading crisis across the multiverse. So I think that is major. So Rob, 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 lines. Dr. Doom is officially arrived in the MCU. This villain, a master of cutting-edge science and powerful magic, will unleash a cascading crisis across the entire multiverse. This one 4-line statement, I think, is giving us more tangible information and insight into this upcoming movie than almost anything else that we've seen or heard so far. And it's deceptively packed. Rob, you read this little thing. What's jumping out to you, and what kind of speculative conclusions are you coming to as a result of it?
Well, the last time I heard the term cascading crisis, my mom was talking about my romantic life in my 20s. So it was good to see it in a different perspective here. But I think, like you said, I think the idea that Doom, like, I don't think he caused a lot of the multiverse stuff, but he sees an opportunity. And I think across the multiverse, he's making his move. And he's like, I'm going to take advantage of this. And he's going to be, like you said, there is a cascading crisis. Realities are coming to an end. And Doom's grabbing his surfboard, and he is going to go on to wave after wave of whatever multiverse he can get into. And he can get up to some shenanigans because he's got a plan. He's got a plan because if they follow the modern Secret Wars, he's going to figure some stuff out. And he's an opportunist. And I think this is exciting for me because, look, I like a villain who's a planner. I like planners, a schemer, and I like that because, look, the best villains are watching their best laid plans go awry. And I'm sure that is going to happen. And I can't wait to see it. I can't wait. Against my better judgment, John, the fanboy in me is really excited to see this movie. Really excited. Now,
well, let me get your commentary on that first part of the statement, though. That, like, they've just confirmed this iteration of Doom is going to be a master of magic and a master of technology. Is that just a trivial detail, or is it, like, I'm kind of feeling that's a major thing? I don't know. What do you think about that little reveal, and how do you think it's going to manifest itself in the movie?
Oh, I think it's going to be huge. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that panel you just showed, if we see that in the film. I mean, what better way to establish a villain than to see him take out Thanos or some iteration of Thanos? But I think the fact that he's already, unless we see him acquire the ability to wield magic in this, but that's what makes this character in God Emperor Doom so formidable, is that you're the perfect distillation of incredible tech. It's like having Wanda and Tony Stark in one. And I can't wait for this. I mean, I'm just trying to. The big question that I have is, how do you explain Tony Stark's resemblance to Victor Von Doom? Or do they? Like, are they going to play some cheeky game where they're going to make him a variant? Like, I don't know. Or they just don't address it at all. Like, I'm hoping that at the end of Spider-Man Brand New Day, the post-credit scene, as we've talked about this before, like, Peter Parker opens the door and he's like, Mr. Stark, what are you doing here? And he's like, kid, I ain't Mr. Stark, or something like that. And then Dr. Doom grabs Spider-Man and that's the end or something. Bling, and they disappear in a portal. Who knows? But I don't know if they're going to address it or play with it. I just know I'm excited. And I just know that I'm going to buy that hot toy of Dr. Doom.
Yeah, listen, one of our viewers wrote something, and to set it up, I've always thought, like, one of the most interesting, like, listen, some movies need a good straight up mustache twirling villain, right? Some movies really need that. But I also get really attracted to villains that don't see themselves as villains. They see themselves as the protagonist.
Yes.
They see themselves as the hero in the story, right? And one of our viewers in the live chat, I lost it. I'm so sorry for this, but one of our viewers mentioned Dr. Doom Victor Von Doom epitomizes the dude who thinks he's right, the dude who thinks he's the good guy. Whereas he's in a world gone mad, he's the one sane guy, which I think is pretty key to understanding him. And I think that just makes him the idea of a fascinating villain. Also, we've had a lot of conversations, Rob, about the idea of, in Avengers Infinity War, they start off by setting up Thanos for the audience by showing him beating up Hulk, the ultimate nuclear option in the MCU, right? And we've talked about who should Doom kind of make his statement with. And some people said Hulk again, and I'm like, you can't really do Hulk because you already did that with Thanos. But going back to that artwork that Jonathan brought up, maybe it is Thanos. Maybe him taking out Thanos, another universe's version of Thanos, is Dr. Doom's statement to start off this new thing. And by the way, I also kind of want to mention this. I've said this before, but I'll say again, Rob, because you brought up this whole thing. Do they mention why he looks like Tony? My favorite theory is still this one, is that in another version of the universe, Tony Stark's, the guy we now know as Tony Stark, say his grandparents immigrated from some European country. I don't know, maybe called Latveria, when Tony's dad was still a young kid. And their family name used to be Von Doom. And like many immigrants, when they came over, they kind of changed their names to blend in more with their new society. And once they came over, Tony Stark's grandfather changed the family name to just Stark. Right? Well, what if in that universe,
Doom wouldn't be a good name for an immigrant, John?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm
now,
Mr.
what
Doom.
What if in that universe, this other universe, Tony Stark's grandfather never did leave Latveria? He stayed there. The family kept the name Von Doom. And he had his son, and then that son had the grandson who would become known, like to us in our universe, as Tony Stark, but was born and was named Victor and became what he became there. So I am still a big fan of that whole idea that, oh yeah, same universe, just the one difference is Tony's grandfather or great-grandfather never left Latveria, and the family stayed there and kept their original family name, Von Doom. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, but then, everybody's saying, well, that kind of makes him a Tony variant. Nah, not to me. To me, that makes Tony a Victor variant.
Right.
And
right.
That's how I myself would present it. I don't know, Rob, what do you think about that?
I think, look, I like that theory or some variation on that. That makes sense to me because that shows the different. I always love road less traveled, sliding doors. I love that kind of idea. And in some universe, you see how fate intervenes or fate doesn't intervene and things change. And or someone's fate was different in one universe than another. And those kinds of stories fascinate me. But they're gonna have to do some heavy lifting and explain that. I mean, that could be the opening of your film. You could get a montage that explains that in 10 minutes. And you go through
5 minutes.
Or the alternate life or whatever, and you see what's going on. I mean, it's really interesting. We talked about The Long Walk. The title of The Long Walk doesn't come in until like 20 minutes into the movie. The title, like, boom. Like, I could see this having some really long, like, if you go and watch the James Bond movie, The World Is Not Enough, I think up until that movie, which the opening title sequence is like 14 minutes, I think No Time to Die is actually longer. But a 14-minute or 20-minute opening sequence before the title even appears, explaining and setting up who Doom is, could be very cool.
Oh, I agree. And I think that's the way they're probably going to handle it. I think you're right. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? It is a very small 4-line mini synopsis, but I think there's a lot of information in that little mini synopsis for us to unpack, and it kind of gives us some insight into the movie more than we've had any official word on up till now. What did you take out of it? Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. By the way, I need to make a little announcement here. I haven't told Jonathan or Rob this either.
Uh-oh.
We love this.
But
when this happens
yeah,
on live
so
broadcasts.
here's what's going on. Today, at some point today, if not already, if it hasn't happened already, at some point today, the John Campea YouTube channel is crossing 400 million views.
Wow.
It's 400 million views today. And I'll make a bigger deal about it tomorrow, because it might have crossed it already as we're speaking, but I'll save it for tomorrow. But my goodness, one of the t-shirts, guys, that Anne brought with her on our movie meetup tour here was the shirt that we made for our 100 million view celebration party.
That was fun. Remember that?
That was at the stream.
That was a great night. It was a great night. It was such a fun time. That was 100 million views, and we're crossing 400 million views, which for a little fucking loser making YouTube videos out of a converted garage ain't bad. I mean, look, we're still tiny, absolutely tiny, tiny, tiny compared to a lot of what are truly big YouTube channels. We're tiny, small fish, don't matter. But for tiny fish, it's a pretty. I'm pretty moved by that. I never would have believed that this channel would hit 400 million views, and for us, it's a big deal. So thank you to everybody for helping that happen. And again, I'll put out a social media post later, and we'll make a bigger deal out of it on tomorrow's show. But I thought I'd mention that, guys, since I haven't dropped on YouTube that we were crossing that landmark today. So there you go. All right, guys. And that will wrap up our main topics here today. And it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your comments and questions. But before we do, we have two things to take care of. First of all, thank Robert Meyer Burnett for being here today. Great job as always, sir. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'll be back in studio tomorrow with you guys, so I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll be back. This was fun. And you know what? I do want to say thank you to everybody that did come out to Vegas as well. I made the trek out there, and what a bunch of great folks. We had some great conversations, and it really means a lot to us when you make the effort. So thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you to everybody for that. Now we will move on to your questions once we do one more little thing, which is to thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at PrizePicks. Guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. Look, you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right actually means you win. And with football back, there is no better time to get in on the action. You guys know I've been using PrizePicks for a while now, and it's honestly the most fun I've had engaging with the new football season already. For example, this weekend, I had Josh Allen throwing for more than 270 passing yards and Baker Mayfield having more than 2.5 passing touchdowns, and boom, I won on both. Building your lineups on PrizePicks is fast, simple, and honestly extremely fun. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and if you're right, you win. What's even better is that PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still win even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Plus, they've even got this thing called injury reboots, so if a player goes down in the first half, it won't count against you. And PrizePicks operates in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So download the app today and use code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to your questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Performing Artist says, hello, gang. Saw The Long Walk last night. Mark Hamill does the best acting job as Brian Cox. Once you notice that, you can't unsee it. I did know it uses 2024 Strange Darling writer, though. So glad I saw it in theater on opening night. Best wishes. I was just thinking about Strange Darling. I love that movie.
It's a good film. And you know what? I hadn't thought about him kind of channeling a Brian. That was a very Brian Cox kind of character. By the way, this has been a great 12 months for Mark Hamill, because his performance in The Life of Chuck with Tom Hiddleston, I think I think honestly, it's the best performance of his career. I really do. And I'm not lying when I say, I think he should get some buzz for a best supporting actor nomination. I mean that wholeheartedly. I really think I don't think, if he doesn't get a nomination, I don't think it's a snub, but I think he should get some consideration for that. And then him playing the Major in Long Walk was great, but you're right. It is a very Brian Cox kind of performance. You're not wrong. All right, what's next?
Raymond Vradas is about Paramount buying WB. I want James Gunn to direct a Star Trek movie or the next trilogy. See you in Dublin next week.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. James Gunn is the head of DC. He's the chair. And if he's going to direct anything, it's going to be stuff within DC. I don't think anybody wants him not only getting away from his responsibilities as the CEO of DC and to direct some other film outside of that. So, I mean, listen, I'd be down to see a James Gunn Star Trek film for sure. I know Rob probably would be too, but I don't think that's something that would happen. All right, what's next?
We got Dakota, who says, should streamers allow us to buy or rent a movie or TV show within the streaming service? It would add revenue for the streamer and value to the customer. Some of them do.
Yeah, but I mean, none of the major ones do, right? Though, like Netflix doesn't let you do that.
No. Disney Plus
HBO
will do
Max
it.
doesn't.
Disney Plus has done
They
it.
do?
Yeah, they have done it for releases where they're special, so you have to pay for it. It's like a special early release.
Right, but that's been an exception, right?
And then
that's been an
Amazon,
exception.
obviously, that's their job. I mean, that's what they do.
Yeah.
They did that.
But Amazon's a
streamed.
different kind of streamer. But
Yeah.
if you're looking at something like Netflix, HBO Max, stuff like that, like
Right.
that, their whole business model is to keep you on as a subscriber.
Right.
So they don't want you to buy a couple things and then leave. They want to keep you on. So yeah, I don't.
Thinking about it from an accountant's point of view, you're now generating income for the streamer and not for the movie, and they want to keep that income coming in for the movie's budget.
Yep, that's a church and state kind of thing. So I don't think it would be wise for them to do it, to be honest with you. Anyway, it's an interesting thought, though. All right, what's next?
All right. Schmacking my titty boosters. Okay, hello, John. I've been watching you ever since the Man of Steel because I struggled with it for so long, and then I realized what it was. Since the Man of Steel trailer dropped back when I was 11, now I'm 25. What does that make me? I live in Denver and will be at the show. Never thought I'd get to meet you. Just wanted to say thank you for me. It'll be like Deadpool meeting Cap. Aw.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that. And it's crazy. We always talk about and joke about how, Man of Steel review was not even a top 5 or 6 most watched video we did when we were still at AMC. Yet and even on this little tour we did, I can't believe how many people come up to me and say, I've been watching you since Man of Steel. Now, you saying you've been watching since the Man of Steel trailer. That's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is crazy how long ago that was now. It is absolutely nuts that, because it came out in what, 2013? Is that when Man of Steel came out? So we're talking, it's been a dozen years since that movie. Oh my God. It's been so long.
13.
Anyway,
yeah, right.
13 years. All right. What's next?
Nightfall Protocol. Hey, I submitted this when John gave the list for top 10 to play Kratos. But the day you got it, Rob was taking the questions. I'm wondering if John has thoughts on it. I think Travis Fimmel is actually perfect to play Baldur versus Kratos. Yeah,
I mean, he would be really good in that. Again, I think there's a lot of actors could play it, but he would, because he shows up very early in the God of War game. Like, he shows up super early, and he's a really fascinating character. And the more I think about it, he does kind of look like Travis Fimmel too. So Travis Fimmel is a guy from Vikings. Yeah, that could be a very interesting casting, actually. All right, what's next?
Matan, seeing the box office on Demon Slayer, it's no wonder that Disney wants to court the Gen Z male audience. They should start marketing their anime better.
That's not Disney. That was Sony, right?
Right. Maybe he's saying like Disney's anime to like kind of match.
Sony's. Oh well, yeah. Again, like I said. And remember, it's not just Demon Slayer. With K-pop Demon Hunter being like one of the biggest things Netflix has had in a while, and with Demon Slayer now being number 1 at the box office this weekend, granted there wasn't a lot of competition for it, but still, I think that's enough to make every studio, Disney or otherwise, is now taking a step back and taking a serious look at this to see how they might be able to cash in. It's a huge deal, I think. Mm-hmm. All right, what's next?
Anonymous. People have been posting Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas. Disney definitely needs to do a live action of this. The song is so powerful and needs to be heard because of what it says. My other fave movie is Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I don't think they're going to do a live action Pocahontas. I think maybe there would have been a time for that. That's not one of their more popular ones. It's great. And yes, Colors of the Wind is a great song. It's a wonderful song, but I don't see them doing a live action. If they did, I honestly don't see it being all that well attended. Like maybe it would be great and everything, but I don't think that would be one of their bigger ones. I do love their Hunchback of Notre Dame thing. And there have been whispers over the years of them trying to do a live action remake of their version of the animated film.
Mm-hmm.
Not super kid friendly, that movie, but at any rate, maybe they could do it. There've been a lot of iterations of Hunchback, so I don't know if they'd want to do it at this point, but I think one of Hunchback would come before a live action of Pocahontas, to be honest. All right, what's next?
Brandon Robinson, do you think it would be wise for Beyond the Spider-Verse to include from the studio behind K-pop Demon Hunters in its marketing? Full disclosure, The Dark Knight Rises trailers didn't acknowledge Inception, but Nolan was a household name at this point.
Yeah, I think at this point, because listen, a lot of movies do it when you have the opportunity. So to say from the studio and the company that brought you K-pop Demon Hunters, which, K-pop Demon Hunters was, from the studio that brought you Spider-Verse.
Right.
I mean, it's free. It's free for them to do. Why not throw
Netflix,
that in there?
Yeah, unless there's some weird Netflix deal in promotions that they can't do. I don't know.
But you can't. No, there's nothing that could preclude that from saying, "Oh, hey, I was a director on this movie. Our company made this."
Right.
There's no contract that can stop you from doing that because it's public knowledge. It's public information. So, like the only way that would be an issue, Jonathan, is if there was an NDA where the company behind K-pop was never allowed to reveal publicly that they were the company behind K-pop.
And we already know that.
Yeah, since that's not the case, Sony could easily put in their marketing without any problems or deference to Netflix, say from the company behind K-pop Demon Hunter. They could totally do that. All right, what's next?
Effing Metaduck was thinking about Tim Meadows in Peacemaker and how he always pluses whatever he's in, but hasn't really starred in much, and was wondering what you thought about that. Why can a guy constantly crush roles but not really star, just different skills?
Yeah, I think different performers and different actors are just really great at playing supporting roles. And, a guy who honestly ruined his career by trying to become a main lead guy. Now, Jonathan and guys in live chat, help me out. He was Rob Schneider. That's who it was. Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider was just a regular guy.
And now he's a carrot. That's one of the best South Park gags. Like Rob Schneider, honestly, to me, was a wonderful comedic supporting guy. Like when he would have his supporting roles pop up and things, I thought he was always great and he always elevated his stuff. But once they started trying to make him a lead, it just didn't work. And I think it kind of sabotaged his amazing supporting career because I thought he was so good in that. And there are just some actors who they just have that gift to be that supporting character. Sometimes we call them role players, right? Character actors, the business will call them sometimes, but whatever. And I just think Tim Meadows is one of those guys that I don't think I see a big lead unless you found the perfect project that was the perfect fit for him. I just think he should spend his career being immortal and killing it in all these supporting roles because it makes him so bankable. And by the way, I saw somebody write this on social media and I'm so behind. If they had a complete 48-minute episode of Peacemaker and it was just Tim Meadows' character and Economos sitting across a table shooting barbs at each other, I would totally watch the hell out of that.
Do you know that end scene of episode probably 2 or something where he's like, "Oh yeah, what color hair did the girls have?" And he's just like, he paused. That was just ad-libbed. He's like, one was bald and one was blonde or redhead or something like that, and just kept going. I was just waiting for him to crack, and he didn't.
Bird blindness is a issue. I love him in this series so far. And I'll be honest with you, his first 3 minutes on screen, I'm like, actually, when I saw that he was in the series and I saw him in the trailers, I'm like, I don't know if Tim Meadows is going to fit in this. Totally over that now. He's so great in this. I love him in it. All right, what's next?
Oh, we got Nate Dogg, regulators. You won't remember me, but I sat next to you in Denver. I've been following you since 2016. So being able to sit next to you and share the experience of watching a movie with you is something I'll never forget. Thank you for making that possible.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that, man. Yeah, again, I just can't get over. I honestly, 100%. I like. I'm not trying to be anything. I wasn't being facetious. Like, I honestly thought that if when we go to these cities, if 2, 3, or 4 people would show up, that would be awesome. Like, that would be awesome if 2, 3, or 4 people would show up at these movie meetups. And then I got to the first one in Phoenix, and I couldn't believe it. And then San Diego, and then Albuquerque, and then Denver, and then Salt Lake, and then now last night here in Las Vegas. I I don't even know what to say. Like, honestly, guys, thank you. It's been so special to me, honestly. Like, hearing your stories and all that kind of stuff, and just that I just can't believe how many of you guys come out, and it means a lot to me. So thank you so much for that. And thanks for sharing that, dude. I appreciate it. All right. What's next?
Dildar says, unfortunately, I won't be able to attend the Portland meetup for him. Got denied requesting that day off. Hopefully, though, there will be a future meetups here in the future. I highly recommend Lloyd Regal Cinema for the next time.
Yeah, you know what? It's going to take us a while to get to all the cities that we want to get to, but I think this has gone so well that maybe we do it all again next year. And like I said, we've still got we're going to announce dates for October and the cities that we're going to be hitting in October. And then we've got another stretch that we're going to do in November. And so and then that'll wrap it up for the year, because I don't want to be driving this van in northern states in winter snows. But I mean, yeah, so more will come. And hopefully, if everything goes well in Portland, we'll be back again in Portland next year too.
Yeah, not to mention you're going to want to like factor in hurricane season and things like that. So,
yep, all that kind of stuff. Fortunately, like, that's why we're not going to Florida right now. So we'll be going to Florida though. I can let you know, we're going to be going to Florida and coming out your guys' ways in Florida in November. Probably mid-November is when we're going to come out there. Anyway, all right, what's next?
We got, let's see, Jacob, who says, thank you so much for coming to visit Denver. Meeting you was definitely a huge event for me, as I have been listening since the movie vlog. Next time, you should stay longer. Lots of awesome stuff to do here.
You know what? One of the big mistakes, and this was our first, like, yeah, I did a one shot in Portland and then a one shot in San Diego. But this little mini 4-night thing that we just did was a real learning experience for me, because one of the big mistakes I made in it was planning one city each night. So went to Albuquerque, then the very next night we're in Denver, and the very next night we're in Salt Lake, and then the very next night we're in Las Vegas. And literally every one of those cities has been, we pull in just before the movie starts, run into the movie, do the meetup, which is awesome. And then as soon as the meetup is done, we got to run back to the van and start driving again. And like, Anna and I haven't had a chance to really take in and enjoy the towns at all. So I think next time I'm going to plan it so we're going to have a movie meetup every 2 days. So I can like have a day to just experience those and get online and ask guys, hey guys, we're going to be in, I don't know, San Antonio tomorrow. Let me know 3 best barbecue places to go and eat. So Anna and I can actually like enjoy the town as well. So yeah, I'm going to make sure I do that better next time.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
We got Mr. Snivy. Pick your poison. Which would you participate if you were forced to pick one? Hunger Games, Squid Game, or Long Walk? I mean, I guess Hunger Games for me, because at least you're armed, and you've got a jungle or forest to hide in and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's easy. Hunger Games.
Yeah.
You know why? I could take all those no problem. Hunger Games.
This is like Step Brothers meets Hunger Games.
That's right. Eat that bird poop. Yeah, I think I could take out those children. I have no problems with that. I'll take out those kids. Hunger Games, easy. All right, what's next?
Nice pool. What are your thoughts on George? This question was asked years ago too, like when Disney first purchased Lucasfilm. What are your thoughts on George Lucas not wanting to re-release the theatrical versions of the original Star Wars trilogy? Would love to experience the same movie exactly how it was in 77. Maybe Disney buying Fox means they can release it. They bought Fox a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. And like we talked a long time ago that part of that deal that George Lucas put into it was you do not re-release the original versions of the movie. Because to George Lucas, remember, those are his movies. I mean, they belong to Disney now, but they're his creations. And to him, and I think this is stupid, all due respect to George Lucas, who will forever be a hero of mine, but to George Lucas, those original versions don't exist. They're not real, right? His new updated versions are what they are. Those are Star Wars, not the original ones that didn't have his full vision in it because he didn't have the technology at the time. These ones are Star Wars. And I disagree with him, and I think it's a bad decision. But as far as I understand, a part of the deal, because you listen, Disney's a corporation. They're going to do anything that makes them money.
Right.
And putting out the original theatrical as it was originally meant and originally seen, that would make them money. But I think it's a part of the sale deal that Lucas made them contractually agree to never release those. Now, here's the thing. When the hopefully many years from now, in the sad day when we lose George Lucas, his kids will then be in charge of his estate. And at that point, maybe Disney can approach the kids, and maybe the kids will say, yeah, we want new generations of people to see our dad's original work. I know dad didn't want to, but we want people to see and experience dad's original work. And maybe they, as George's estate, then makes a deal with Disney or signs an agreement or gets permission. But I don't think that's ever going to happen until George Lucas passes away. Until then, I think George is never going to let Disney re-release it. Now, look, I don't know everything. I could be completely wrong about that, but you're asking me. So yeah, my guess is I don't think George Lucas ever lets them release it as long as he's around. All right, what's next?
Anonymous, for the DC Batman series, I would not do Batwoman, but I think an Oracle series could fit in this world. Coping with her disability, but also fighting crime. You could do a lot with it.
I think an Oracle series is exactly the kind of story that you could tell on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You do half of the first episode showing her injury, and then you set her up as this kind of the absolute linchpin of crime fighting in Gotham. Like this is everything goes through Oracle, right? I think there's a fascinating, and it sounds like a very HBO thing to do. So I could totally see, if you do it right, I think that could be one that would go over very well with the audience.
All right,
what's next?
We got Drew. So great to meet and nervously talk movies briefly with John and Anne, my wife. Tagged along to see her, a guy who stayed until probably midnight or later in Salt Lake City to chat with every person there. You're the man, John.
Oh, thank you so much for that. And yeah, Anne, it's been funny. Well, I've had several people say, hey, don't get me wrong, it's really nice to meet John, but I'm really here to meet Anne. And so it's been great. And Anne has been meeting so many people, and so many people have been so kind to Anne and being really nice. And yeah, we've had several people, their girlfriends or their wives come along, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm here. The girlfriend or the wives are, I'm here to meet Anne. And that's been really, really cool and a big part of it. And, you know, one of the things I tell people when the movie's over and we go outside and we start our meetup, yeah, I tell everybody, I'm going to stay here till I've had a chance to meet everybody. And that often means we're there till after midnight and getting on the road late. But it's the whole reason that we're doing the movie meetups is to meet everybody. And so it's been a lot of fun and it's been great. All right, what's next?
Got Lazarus saying, after thinking about Long Walk, it's my favorite movie of the year. It feels like it came out at the perfect time. Those who want war often only care about the version of what's right, asking others to die for it. Choose love, not blood.
You know, I'll tell you what, I was expecting going into The Long Walk, because I never read the book, a battle royale / Hunger Games kind of film, right? And it wasn't at all. It was not what I was expecting. And it would have been great if it was, but it was not what I was expecting at all. Instead, it was something much more meaningful and much deeper. And it feels odd to say it, like a movie where a lot of young guys are getting shot in the head and like some other unspeakable things are happening on the screen. It is a beautiful movie. and the message behind it. And that's the first thing I said to Anne after we watched it for the first time. I came out and said that movie was strangely beautiful, and I loved it. And it is in my top 5 of the year so far. All right, what's next?
Calvin says, "Hey John, the Emmys were strange. I can't understand why they force winners to be super fast. Like most of them probably will never be there again. And then Coolidge got 15 business days for a B joke. Let people celebrate the biggest accolade of their lives."
It's not about, but no, like that's the thing. The Emmys is about celebrating the industry. It's not about celebrating the individual people. Now, yes, celebrating the individual winners and accomplishments, that's great. But, people watching at home don't want to watch 5-minute speeches.
Yeah, it's also a live broadcast.
Right? Adrian Brody, and also, listen, I love Adrian Brody. I've loved him for a long time. But he basically ruined it for everybody. Right? Like when the way he just droned on and on and on. And again, I'm complaining about something he did, but I love him. I think he's great. I really do. But
yeah,
his stunt at the Oscars, like, just kept going on and on and on. What he did was he made it about him instead of about the night and the industry. And he absolutely, not just for the Oscars, but also for other award series, he's ruined it for everybody. And now they're going to be more strict and more tight on that. And listen, who cares if somebody gets 2 minutes instead of 1? They're now an Emmy winner, and that's forever. That is forever. And that's the main thing anyway. Anyway, all right, what's next?
By the way, how was the host? Because I didn't get to watch much of it. And I'm really a big fan of Nate Bargatze's comedy.
You know what? Of course, I was at the movie meetup, so I didn't watch it. I was just getting all the notifications.
Oh, I thought maybe you rewatched like reruns or whatever.
You know what? Nate is one of Anne's favorite comedians now.
I love him. He's great.
But I have not heard good things about his hosting last night.
I was a little nervous because it seemed out of his wheelhouse and his comedy style.
Listen, I'm not saying he wasn't good because I didn't see it. Okay, so I'm not saying he wasn't good, but I know Anne was really excited to watch stuff, but the stuff I'm reading was that maybe he did not do so well. But I don't know. Again, I didn't see it myself, so maybe I'll feel differently.
He's just very matter of fact and dry, so I was nervous.
I like him. I like him a lot, but maybe he just wasn't the best fit for hosting one of those things. I don't know.
Just Curious says, "Hey, John, did you ever end up watching Adolescence? If not, I highly recommend it still. It's only 4 episodes and leaves a big impact on viewers. Even thinking about it now, I'm happy for its Emmy success."
Yeah, and it was wonderful. I was very late to it. I was like, people would ask about it, and I kept saying, no, I haven't seen it yet. I did finally get around to it, and it's great. Again, I would have given it to Penguin. I still thought Penguin was better, but it was, not only was it just great in and of itself, but the whole originality of the format and how they did it was so unique and different, and that's usually stuff that can change in industry. So anyway, yeah, I really liked it. It was great, and I couldn't be happier for all success at the Emmys. All right, what's next?
Curious Chris. In my opinion, the music for the last 15 minutes or so of E.T. is the single greatest musical cue in any film score. That's actually the main theme. Basically, they just played the main theme for that portion. It's not only masterfully written, but elevates the scene in every way. The scene was actually edited to fit the music. Any favorite cues of yours? And I agree. I love the score to E.T.
The score to E.T. is great. One of the best moments I've seen. Anne and I go every year to the John Williams in concert at the Hollywood Bowl. Now he doesn't do it anymore.
Right.
Now it's celebrating the music of John Williams and one of his proteges, Newman. I forget his first name.
Right. It's the son of his.
Yeah, of Alfred Newman, who was John Williams's mentor.
Right. Yes.
So Newman now does the conducting, and John Williams isn't there, which is unfortunate. But one year at the John Williams in concert, what they did was they did the entire last sequence of E.T. With the orchestra playing it, with the whole scene playing up on the big screen without the music, and then the orchestra playing the music. And if you want to really appreciate that music in that movie, watch it that way. It was just unbelievable. And the music is so moving and it fits so perfectly. And it moves you and stirs you in the ways like only John Williams can. All right. What's next?
Tyler. Hey, John, my wife and my mom and I had an amazing time in Salt Lake meetup. It was great to meet you and Ann. You spent much more time with us than we expected, which is really appreciated. Thanks for signing a few things, and I hope Dune likes her toy.
Oh yeah, so I remember that. Anne loved that. So somebody gave us as a gift, gave us a toy for our dog Dune, and which I'm sure Dune is going to love. It's been amazing some of the things people have brought for me to autograph. A number of people, Jonathan, this is really weird because obviously I'm not in it. I have nothing to do with it. But a number of people brought Blu-rays of Man of Steel. And so they brought Blu-rays of Man of Steel and have me sign it. I had a few people bring their DVD and Blu-rays of my Hulk movie. So and have me autograph that. I had several people bring copies of my book, The Pride. So I got to autograph those. Autographed a lot of hats and t-shirts and stuff like that too, but some really, really creative stuff. Actually, one gentleman 3D printed an exact duplicate of the spin top from the end of Inception.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and 3D printed that for me. When I was in Salt Lake City, which is, again, is a very big Mormon state, one guy brought me, I thought it was really cool, brought me a Book of Mormon completely in Italian. So like on the cover, it's all in Italian and everything, which I thought was really neat and interesting too.
So you could say that one guy gave you a memento.
Okay, that's pretty good. that was pretty good. That was pretty good. All right, what's next?
All right, Coaster Kurt. Hey there, John. It was a great experience seeing The Thing at the meetup in New Mexico. It's so easy to overlook that even classics were made for the big screen. Oh, yeah. And the experience is just on another level. I'll definitely be going to see more Thanks Bring on the Filthy.
I'm going to tell you a little story about the New Mexico meetup. When we went to Albuquerque for the movie meetup the other night to see The Thing, we missed half the movie. Mm-hmm. And the reason we missed half the movie was twofold. One wasn't really my fault, but one was completely my fault. The one that wasn't really our fault was we did run into some significant weather. We ran into some significant weather that kind of slowed us down a little bit. But the second thing was I didn't know it was a time zone difference. And so we lost an hour going that way. And because of that, with the weather delay, we still would have just made it. But because I totally forgot about the time zone change, we missed like the first hour of the film, which was
because I remember one of the mornings we were setting up, and I'm like, "Did you mean 10:30 or did you mean 11:30 Pacific? Because you're 2 hours ahead."
Yeah, I was. That took some adjusting. I totally forgot about the time zone difference. All right, we got time for like two more.
All right, I think we got like three, but for the DC Batman other series. Oh no, I read that, so we have two more. Hey, yesterday someone mentioned whether Disney would make a live-action Pocahontas. We just read that today. John said probably not, but there actually is a live-action Pocahontas movie, The New World, by Terrence Malick, with Colin Farrell and Christian Bale. Beautiful movie. Not quite the same, but yeah.
Yeah, but that wasn't a live-action remake of the animated film with Colors of the Wind in it and all that. Very, very different sort of thing, right? So that's a totally different scenario. But yes, there are iterations of that story out there, 100%. Mm-hmm.
Then finally,
all right, what's next?
Mr. I, our last tip, says, I know X actor X role, but after watching him on Alien Earth, if they announce Timothy Olyphant as Magneto in the future MCU X-Men, I would love it. And it's not because of the white hair. It's his calm menace about him. I can see him as a leader.
Well, and the biggest thing for having him possibly as Magneto is just the fact that he's a magnificent actor.
Yeah,
I've always loved Timothy Olyphant. I just think he's fantastic. I love him. And while it wouldn't necessarily be my first choice, if I woke up tomorrow and Kevin Feige announced we've got our new Magneto for the new X-Men universe we're doing here in the MCU, and it's Timothy Olyphant, you wouldn't see me complaining. I wouldn't complain at all. I think that would be great. And again, not my first choice, but yeah, I would be totally down for it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think we answered that. Me and Rob felt the same way.
All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who send in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. Also, big thanks to Robert Meyer Burnett. Of course, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea, and I'll be back in studio tomorrow with everybody. So until then, my friends, bye-bye.